Good morning, evening, afternoon. I'm tatocat. Welcome to my channel. Today we're playing Echoes of Lucid9 Fangame. Previously, we learned that this is actually Miki. I was right. And also there is a special magical thing that swoofs you into airplanes apparently because they made a doo 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 sound. And we learned about Spear in the Isamu Liberation Front, and that is where we left off. Right, let's continue. Misaki smiles widely after uttering that platitude, somehow managing to acknowledge the passage of time without a single word on the matter. With her eyes shut, her expression is almost perfect, like thin lines drawn on a tempered porcelain mask. When she opens them, however, I see two minuscule static pupils. I see a watery reflectiveness in her gaze, one that doesn't belong anywhere near a corporate spokesperson, much less the flawless face of a mega corporation. I see the selective control in her expression, and I finally understand what she's doing. The moment I do, all disdain I could have had for her melts into nothingness, likely as she intended. I see someone who looks just as out of place in her life as I do, but whether or not I can trust what I see is a different matter entirely. So I decide to play along. It's had its ups and downs, but I'm confident that the growth our organization has experienced has been a net positive for us. Being able to synergize with so many talented and hardworking people has been quite a fulfilling experience. You know what? Screw this PR Akuta. I owe you an explanation, Rui, and an apology. You don't owe me anything, Miki. But what made you do this? Do what? Work for the Combine. I thought you'd be running a meme page between photo shoots or breaking the speed limit on a motorcycle. Out of all the corporations in Isamu, why would you join the one Satomi owned? I thought you hated her. That was 3 years ago, Rui. Amends have been made. I admit that some of the decisions my mother made were morally and ethically unsound, but she made every effort to atone for that. I would be dishonored. I would be dishonorable to resent her after accepting the assistance she offered. I see. She must have done a great deal for you. Misaki nods. She's always held you in high regard. Really. Even if there were some family matters she saw it best to keep you out of. The same goes for Yama. Misaki smiles at me, though this time she's more genuine. If it is, I'm not surprised. Throwing Yama into the mix has always had that effect on her. Thank you for keeping him safe, Rui. If there's anything you need, Miki. Misaki smiles fades and instantly regret I instantly regret my choice in tone. It makes sense that she'd be disturbed, though. The last time we met in person, my voice was never this harsh. Not without provocation, at least. Even with the abundance of reports she's received, I doubt any of them could have prepared her for an event like this. An event which, if she's unlucky, will prove to her that the Rui she's once knew died a long time ago. It's okay. I didn't do it alone, you know? Deliberate softening my voice. Seems to work. At the very least, it looks like it does. I know. I'll try not to pressure you to receive any gifts you don't believe you deserve. It's just, you were the one who got him to remember, weren't you? To convince him that this reality was his own? I certainly tried. Also, how do you know that? This just happened a few days ago. The only person who knows for sure is the chairman. And there are things about Yama that not even he understands. I'm not even sure how much of the original Yama made it through the experiments. Don't get me wrong, I never knew him as the sum of his parts. He was my friend, not a math equation. And I can't think of anyone who sucks at math more than I do. Sorry, hit the thing. When I spoke to that man on the operating table, part of me wasn't sure if it was him, but I do know that no matter who he is, he deserves to be happy. Sometimes seeing him smile is enough. I just hope that behind that smile is someone who wants to live. Misaki smiles again. Identity is a hardy thing, Rui. When someone represents something, you'd be surprised by how difficult it is to destroy them completely. However, I suspect that some people did try, but they couldn't have answered to your chairman if that were the case. Think about it, really. When did Way Forward start working on him? 7 months, unless what the chairman told me was wrong. No, for once he was telling the truth. My mother and I both know the chairman, and he's a lot of things. Morally ambiguous, legally subversive, manipulative, deceptive, and that's just to name a few. However, he's anything but wasteful, even if he did somehow want to damage Yama. He wouldn't have sat around doing nothing for 2 years and 5 months. The kind of person who would do that, however, is best left to the imagination. I know who might have done this, but I'm not going to say it out loud. Just remember who really controls Isamu. After that, things will begin to add up. For now, you and your partner should grab your things. We're about to arrive minutes away from District 3. I can't imagine you'll want to leave anything behind. The almost melodic rumble of the shuttle side door is accompanied by a drawn-out hiss as the cabin pressure equalizes into that of the surrounding air. With my helmet nestled on the crook of my left arm and Hisao trailing close behind me, I follow Misaki as she jumps down onto the landing pad a foot and a half below us. After I reach a safe distance from the landing craft's pulse engines, there we go, propel it into the sky once more, rising vertically into the lightless sky with a single roaring breath. After the last whisper of the craft finally fades away, a cold yet soothing breeze blows past my exposed face, chilling the tops of my ears in the process. Before putting my helmet back on, I take one final breath of the desiccated and seemingly unpolluted air. This is District 3. If you told me about the Alpine Plateau on the edge of Isamu, where a massive fuck-off range of mountains created a combination of shadows and clouds so thick that the sun appeared to rise at noon, I believe it existed, but I wouldn't consider it prime real estate. However, in less than a decade, Kazuhaya Combine and the millions of disenfranchised citizens and its employ managed to transform what was once an uninhabited shelf filled with rocks and shrubs into a red light district so bright that visiting astronomers might consider it in class. Even with the cable car system KCOM built, this is still one of the most isolated places in the city. But considering the sheer quality of less wholesome goods and services that can be found here, I can't deny that them being insulated from the rest of Isamu has worked to their advantage. Thanks to the low price of housing, it's possible for one person working an entry-level job to rent out a 3,000 square foot home with money to spare. And chances are, any money spent by the 2 million people living and working here comes from KCOM's accounts and goes right back into them the moment they part ways with it. There might not be much of it, but the air seems clean and relatively breathable, and the glow of neon signs illuminates the quiet streets in a way where everything around it just makes it seem warmer. Ignoring the subtle monetization around every corner and moral bankruptcy of the people running it, it would be easy to be drawn through the silence and into the hollow, comforting light of parlors advertising every form of gratification possible to those with money to spare. Oh no, I can't read it. Okay. Holy, what's with this air? I've changed his voice. Didn't mean to. The sound of Hisao coughing abruptly shifts my focus back into the external world. Misaki slaps him firmly on the back, noticeably less out of breath in comparison. Mother of the blaze, did you do that for? Breathe. The elevation in 3 is a bit extreme compared to the other districts. Was that? Yeah. Okay. I was like, did I read Hisao's line in Misaki's voice? You're currently 4.5 kilometers above sea level. It takes some getting used to if you're not from here. Let me get this straight. You found a place 4,500 meters above sea level and decided it was appropriate and cost-effective location for 100,000 acres of suburban debauchery. Misaki nods. Well, at least there's less vehicle exhaust to inhale, in addition to less everything else. This is true. There are 3 major shrines in this district that precede our operations here by hundreds of years. The folk priests teach that the winds and darkness here are home to many kami that shun the light so that they should see the path if our world is ever cast in darkness once more. It is written that if men should construct edifices here, the katakaze must be treated with respect. The clean wind that blows here must exist as it always has, lest we suffer the wrath of the land that already tried the strength of those who set foot here. While some tourists enjoy attributing our air quality to spirits, I'm afraid the truth is a bit more mundane. If you look around the area, you won't see any cars, let alone a single road for them to drive on. You won't hear their engines roaring or feel their weight against the earth. This is a silent circle mile. This is a silent circle, a miles-wide pedestrian-only zone that surrounds the center of District 3. In addition to a majority of our administrative buildings, our highest quality products and services can be found here. Even if we were elsewhere, any technology making use of combustion-based energy has been legal in our autonomous zone for over 2 years. That's quite impressive. Back in District 2, we're still burning megaliters of synth gas on a weekly basis. Are you at liberty to disclose the means by which you accomplished such a feat? It was a simple matter. Resource intensive, but relatively simple. Once wide bore plasma drilling became the norm, we were able to harness enough geothermal energy to power the entire district. Considering that civilian vehicles are relatively inexpensive to produce, all we really needed to do was buy them back and replace them with an electrical model. Before you get the wrong idea, however, this wasn't an altruistic act. Everything my mother does is driven by some ulterior motive. And apparently she's all the way up there. Misaki points towards a colossal glowing skyscraper, its crown marked by a projection of the instantly recognizable broken diamond logo of Kazahaya Combine. That monolith of a building over there is the Lotus Tower, Kazahaya Combine's corporate headquarters and base of non-combat operations. My mother is waiting for us at the top on the 444th floor. Oh, the death floor. Of course. I take it she's not the superstitious type. Not in the slightest. If what she's told me is correct, she had it built as a message to everyone that feared death, one that stated clearly to them that such a fear was something they were expected to overcome if they wanted to work for her. As a reminder to all of us that it was her who brought the fourth clans together in the most desperate hour. She made sure that her office was the highest stationary point in the district though she would never admit to such an act of egotism outright. From that point, she watches over all of us, and this is the nation within a nation, one that allows neither our honor nor our tradition to be corrupted by the militaristic fever dream of the Bugeisha. Though elsewhere in Isamu have embraced humanity's most dangerous instincts, manifesting as culture, where the only true concern and sign of progress is the death of their faceless enemy. Rage benefits none, and neither does fear. Yet this is all that motivates many to serve this meritocracy. Some are willing to even betray friends and family for a greater role in the bonfire that sees them as no more than kindling. But not here. Will the Bugeisha inevitably destroy their society in civil war? Our Combine will remain intact. Time may abandon them, but we will not. And when they seek us out, we will offer them our guidance. Misaki turns away and continues to lead us down the path to the Lotus Tower. After walking for several minutes, we reach a security checkpoint guarded by 8 men in Black Star uniforms, 2 standing at the ready, each behind what appears to be a quadruple 30mm chain gun emplacement. Once Misaki verifies her identity, she has no problem escorting us through the checkpoint as honored guests of the Combine. I don't know whose voice it is. I'm using my normal voice. Welcome to the Lotus Tower. As Misaki leads us into a glass elevator, a voice recording starts playing from a ring of nearby speakers. This elevator will begin moving in 15 seconds. If you suffer from motion sickness or otherwise sensitive to moderate acceleration, this mode of transportation may worsen your condition. Whether you are a visitor, a customer, or an employee of this corporation, we humbly thank you for your patronage. Honor the past, defend the present, build the future. The elevator hums to life. Thank you for choosing Kasahaya Combine. We hope you enjoy your stay. This is pretty cool looking. I like this. Also, if I was like in a glass elevator and I just saw all of this, that would kind of terrify me. After around a minute of upwards travel, I take a glance at the data readout screen above the elevator control panel. Current floor 298. Designation floor 444. Distance from ground 1,262 meters. Elevation 5,799 meters. Well, that's pretty high up. That's scary. Why would you look at that? That's like when you're walking on something really high up and somebody's like, don't look down. You're gonna look down. And it's gonna be scary. Well, hopefully we don't fall out the window or something falls out the window. And we'll get to meet Satomi in the next episode.